So week two, just finished week two. Today is Sunday, and today's week two. When I first started this series with week one, I was talking as if I was talking to the audience, to whoever's watching, and even though I want to frame this more. I want to talk more to my future self, and it's going to be a combination of the two of me, because this is really documentation for me, but it's documentation for the audience as well. But all right, let's get into it. Week two was interesting. I highlighted a couple of things from the book that I really, that resonated with me or whatnot from the chapter. And this week was very emotional for me. When I was watching Dochi's week two, she said that she was very angry this week. And in the book somewhere it says that it's very possible to get angry this week, or I think week three is about anger, or week three tends to bring out anger. But for me, I had a little bit of anger, I had a little bit of resentment, I had a little bit of happiness, actually. Like, it was very sporadic. Like, I was this way one day, this way the next day, this way the next day. And I feel like I'm not usually like that. I have like a general baseline mood, and then it kind of hangs out around there. But ever since I've been really focused on ever since that baseline mood dropped significantly because of this creative block, and now that I've been focused on this creative recovery, I feel like I don't know if I have a baseline mood anymore. It's like, it's up and down. Like, it's tough. But some things I highlighted from this chapter are some passages I highlighted are: very often a creative block manifests itself as an addiction to fantasy. Rather than working or living the now, we spin our wheels and indulge in daydreams of could have, would have, and should have. My thing is, I don't necessarily live in a space of could have, would have, or should have. The reason why I highlighted that was because I resonate with the first section where it says, very often a creative block manifests itself as addiction to fantasy. And rather than working or living in the now, we spin our wheels and indulge in daydreams. Not necessarily of could have, would have, or should have, but daydreams of the future rather than living in the now. Like, it never feels like I'm here in the present. It feels like I'm always like trying to create this grand future, which is so big. And I feel like my creative block has manifested itself into that. And this is the next passage. Develop interest in life as you see it, in people, things, literature, music. The world is so rich, simply throbbing with rich treasures, beautiful souls, and interesting people. Forget yourself. That felt like it feels like I need to read that like every day, because when I fixated on my goal of being ultra successful, nothing else mattered. Literature didn't matter. Music didn't matter. Only literature that specifically helped me with my goal mattered, or gave me information on how to execute my mission. That mattered. Music music didn't matter that much. It's like my music mattered, but like I didn't know what music was on the charts. I haven't been like digging for new music, looking to find new inspiring music. People, like I haven't been really focused on romance or finding new friends, even though I have like I give it like a little bit of time so that I don't go crazy, but I went crazy anyway, so it doesn't feel like I gave it that much time, or enough time rather. And then like things like, just in general, the world is so rich, simply throbbing with rich treasures, beautiful souls, and interesting people. Forget yourself. and and so I highlighted that because it feels like I created this creative block low key by trying to focus intently on my goal as a creative and as an entrepreneur and as an artist. So it's so weird that it works that way, because how else does one bring something about into the universe? Like, how else do you create something without focusing on it? And that's like the main theme of this week. It's like I've been kind of irritable because in this creative recovery, the main theme is, okay, we're doing different things now. We're doing things that we don't really allow ourselves to do, but we're doing things that we don't that I'm doing things that I don't really allow myself to do because I don't have the time to do. And so now that I'm doing those things, I feel more creative. I would be lying if I was to say that I don't feel more like an artist through going through this journey. But the thing is, I still haven't been creating that much. Like it feels like, yeah, I'm doing all these things now. Like I'm experiencing life more by taking my head out of the books and actually paying attention to the world being so rich and throbbing with rich treasures or whatever. But I'm still not fucking creating because I don't have that much time. So it's like, if I'm dedicating my time to this, to living in this way, it's very hard to find time to actually make the fucking art. So it just feels like a parallel, complex, like fucking unescapable cycle of bullshit. So let's see. I highlighted some other things. The quality of life is in proportion always to the capacity for delight. The capacity for delight is the gift of paying attention. Don't really have much to say about that one. The reward for attention is always healing. So don't really have much to say about that one right now either. Okay, so now we have some rules of the road that are in the book. And it says, in order to be an artist, I must show up at the page, use the page to rest, dream, to try. So this is interesting. Fill the well by caring for my artist. Maybe it's like a balance of living like this to fill the well and then going back into the shed to create once the well has been filled, and it's just like a teeter-totter action of doing those two different lifestyles. But yeah, I'm not sure. Set small and gentle goals and meet them. Maybe this is it. I hate setting small goals. It just goes against my life philosophy. And that's another thing that I'm noticing, is that there's a lot of things in this book that go against strong beliefs that I have. And maybe it's because of those strong beliefs that my block is so strong. but I've been conditioned to not really believe in setting small goals, because you don't work as hard for small goals. And I'm just obsessed with working hard. And I guess because I haven't been working hard lately, I just don't I don't feel, there's a lot of things that I'm just like, there's a lot of conflicting elements. And I feel like this is supposed to happen. The author mentioned that this is kind of a thing that happens. Like there's a lot of resistance in this journey. And so I'm just seeing it through as best as I can. But I don't want to turn into somebody who doesn't believe in hard work and big goals and and aggressive timelines and like just, you know what I'm saying, hard dick energy when it comes up to your goals and everything else too. And that small gentle goals is like, that's just that's baby shit. That's girly shit. But, maybe there's something there for me to learn. Number 4, pray for guidance, courage, and humility. I feel like I have too much humility, and I feel like I have courage for the most part. And as far as guidance, that's why I'm here. Remember that it is far harder and more painful to be a blocked artist than it is to do the work. That is one of the ones that I highlighted. It's way more painful to be a blocked artist than it is to sit down and create, even when you don't feel like it. Be alert always for the presence of the great creator leading and helping my artist. So I must be alert for the presence of the great creator leading and helping my artist. I feel like I've been more alert when it comes up to that, because I haven't 100% caught that help yet. I haven't noticed it, because it feels like one of the reasons why I picked this book up is because it genuinely, sometimes my journey, I feel like everybody can relate to this, but sometimes my journey literally feels like I'm getting the opposite of help. Like I'm getting sabotaged by the great creator or whoever. But I feel like that's just a negative lens to see it through. And that's not my core belief, but I would be lying if I said that it didn't feel like that sometimes. A lot of the time. Choose companions who encourage me to do the work, not just talk about doing the work or why I am not doing the work. I must remember that the great creator loves creativity. I must remember that it is my job to do the work, not judge the work. That's another one that I highlighted. It's my job to do the work, not judge the work. I need to create, and I can't judge it too hard in this season of my creative journey. I just need to create and let the other people let the audience do the judging. Place the sign in my great creator. I will take care of the quantity. You take care of the quality. That's a bar right there. You take care of the quantity, or I take care of the quantity. You take care of the quality. Because sometimes it feels like you can't control the quality of your work as an artist. Sometimes it just feels like that. And then that sucks, because you're doing all this work so that it gets good. But by nature, by doing it more, you get better, but you know what I mean. Okay, so here's where things get a little bit more interesting. These are the tasks for this week. Affirmative reading every day, morning and night. Get quiet, focus, and read the basic principles to yourself, which is what I just read, and be alert for any attitudinal shifts. I don't know what that, attitudinal shifts. Yes, I had a lot of attitudinal shifts this week. Can you see yourself setting aside any skepticisms yet? I've set aside a few, but not all of them. I did not do my affirmative reading every day. It's very tough. Like, you'll notice that she's asking for a lot. She's asking you to do a lot. She's asking you to write your morning pages every day. That's 3 pages. Go for an artist day every week. Do things, you know what I'm saying? Do things that you don't have, that you don't usually allow yourself to do. Then you gotta, then affirmative reading every day. It's like, there's so many things that just like fill up the time that I did have to create. And so it's like, it feels like I'm doing this instead, which, like I said, it's not that it's not helping, because it does feel like, I do feel like it's been helping me. I've definitely been feeling different and feeling more creative, but I'm still not creating that much. Okay, where does your time go? Write the second task is, where does your time go? List your 5 major activities, and then write how much time you spent there. Work, my job, 75% of my time. Reading, sitting and thinking, I do that a lot. Working out, and music, working on my craft. So obviously my job is my major activity. Then working out is probably second, because I make sure I work out 5 days a week. And I would say reading is next. And music / writing and sitting and thinking are probably like neck and neck in terms of how much I do them. And it said, which did you want to do and which were shoulds? The should is work. Definitely don't want to spend 75% of my time building someone else's dream. But that's just the reality. And I have no problems being selfish, because it said how much time was spent helping others and ignoring my wants. I'm not the type of person who does that easily. I have to remember the last quote that I read, which was forget yourself. I've been practicing forgetting myself and paying attention to what's out there and not what's in here. So my default setting is work on myself. So now then the next task was list 20 things that you enjoy. This was kind of hard, because 20 is a lot of things. And I keep my life relatively simple, especially for the past couple of years that I've been really hammering my goals. But I managed to write 23. Practicing piano, guitar, longboarding, going on dates, playing basketball, drawing, poetry, math. I really do like math, and I like studying math. And then I have 2 activities that are explicit and not going to mention in the video. Messages. I said messages. It says massages. Pedicures. Mobility training and stretching. Playing chess. I love chess. Being fashionable. Exploring music gear. So like, I like testing out different like gear, or rather like diving deep into the gear that I have without the pressure of making something cool, just like trying to do things and figure out how to do different techniques and shit. I like doing that. Learning about space. I love outer space. Watching movies / shows. I put video games times 3 question marks. And the reason why I did that is because I retired from video games about 2.5 years ago, probably longer, but I retired from like all forms of video games like 2.5 years ago. And I did it because it felt like it was an addiction. That it felt like something that I didn't really enjoy that much anymore, but I was still doing it because I felt obligated to. And it was also very easy to just leave this planet and leave your troubles and get sucked into a video game. But I also don't think that is actually good for somebody who's trying to create a life that feels like a video game. So that's why I put question marks, because yeah, I used to enjoy playing video games, but I can't really see myself going back to them. Reading, love to read, love seeing the sunrise on the beach. Running. I also put a question mark around weed, because I also, at the same time I quit video games, I quit weed at the same time because of a panic attack that I had while consuming video game content while high. And I had this whole situation, this whole vision, and it essentially, I'm not going to break down the entire story because I don't want this video to be an hour long like the last one, but essentially that whole experience, the great creator told me, or what sounded like the great creator told me, that these two things are not leading me towards where I want to go. They're leading me astray. And when I realized that, I freaked out, because obviously there are things that I enjoyed doing, but it was a very somber experience because there are things that I loved doing, but I was also very stressed out about why I felt like I was being led astray. And it was the very things that I liked to do that were leading me astray. And I feel like that when that happened, I changed completely, and I stopped really, I think at that moment I really did stop paying attention to enjoyment and more attention towards what do you want to make happen and how do you make that happen. And so I feel like my brain has now started associating, or ever since then, my brain has started associating enjoyment with being led astray. And I don't necessarily feel like that's always the case, but I guess this is what this creative recovery is about, is showing me that I think that's definitely an insight that I just had, that I feel like has affected my quality of life and probably has something to do with my creative block as well. I genuinely started assuming that if something is considered enjoyable, it's probably not good for me. It's probably not work in order to move, it's probably not moving me towards my goals. And that's a dangerous thought when I think about it. So the next task was write 2 favorite things that you've avoided that could be this week's goals. And the 2 things that I wrote were buy basketball shoes, that I didn't do, and longboard after my piano lesson, and I didn't do that either. But I did do mobility training and stretching this week, so I still kind of knocked out things that I enjoy doing, because I'm working on my backflip, which my backflip is loading. I'm going to have a backflip. Once I can do the backflip consistently, I'm going to have a backflip. I'm going to put out a backflip progress video. And one thing another thing I highlighted was stop looking for big blocks of time when you will be free. Find small bits of time. This is why I haven't been creating, because small bits of time, it's so hard for me to even access flow state in small bits of time. And so it discourages me from trying to use those small bits of time effectively. But that's all I have right now. All I have is small bits of time because of how much I work. I mean, during the weekend, I have larger chunks of time, or bigger blocks of time. But though a lot of times, I'm just burnt out from the ridiculousness that is 9 hour, like 10.5 hour days, and very little time afterwards for myself during the whole week. So I need to start taking advantage of those small pockets of time. Okay. 5, the fifth exercise, or the fifth task, was read affirmations from week 1, which I did. I'm more than talented to be a successful. I'm more than talented enough. I didn't write. I forgot to write enough. But I'm more than talented enough to be a successful musical artist. My craft, music, has made me insanely financially wealthy. And I have the audacity, which is another insight that I had this week. I have the audacity to step into the light, into the limelight, and to thrive in it. Audacity has been a theme for this week, because one of the things that the author mentions in this book is that it's not talent that gets an artist into the limelight. It is audacity. And audacity is something that I feel like I've struggled with on this journey. I feel like it's something that is responsible. If there's one thing that's responsible for my block and my lack of success in my music career right now, it's audacity. And so it's weird, because it's not that I'm not a confident person. I am confident and I do believe in myself. But the thing is, that audacity bit it's crazy, because I noticed that even though it feels like when I dedicate my life to something, I get very insecure about it, because when I dedicate my life to something, there comes a new pressure that's like, yeah, because this is the thing, this is your thing, you have to be good at this. You have to be great at this. You have to be the best at this. You have to be amazing at this. And it rarely ever feels like I've gotten there. And so because of that, it feels like I'm chasing the audacity by trying to get better and better. But because when you get better and better, the bar just keeps moving. It's like the audacity keeps moving as well. And so it's like I'm not catching that either. And so I was thinking to myself, why is that? And I just remember, like, that has always been a struggle of mine, even when I was a kid. Even when I was a really good basketball player in high school, when it was time to really shine, when everybody was watching during the games, basically when the big moments presented themselves, I fell short. It's almost like my skills just disappeared. It makes me feel like those moments where, like, Timmy Turner from Fairly Odd Parents is just making wishes all day, and then he tries to make the wish that he needs to make to, like, save his family or, like, save his life or something, and it's against the rules, and they try to make the wish and then it just doesn't happen. And so it's like the moment that he needed the wish the most, they couldn't grant the wish. That was a great show. Fairly Odd Parents was such a great show. But that's what it feels like every time it's time for me to really perform. And I don't know why that happens. Like, I remember back in high school, when I made the AAU team, cooked everybody at tryouts, like literally straight cooked at tryouts. And then when I made the team, because I literally cooked at tryouts, it was like my skills disappeared. And I got bullied so hard for that on that team. And I just remembered that this week. Like, I always remembered like my AAU and stuff like that journey, but this week I kind of went back in time and remembered how that shit felt. And it was crazy. I was just like, yo, that was intense. Like, I know people, like, for me, I got bullied a lot when I was in elementary, middle, like lower middle school. But like once I got to like upper middle and like lower high, even in lower high, I got bullied a little bit, but by then it didn't really affect me anymore. And then like I kind of rose to the top of the food chain because of how much I didn't give a fuck about what people thought. It made me more cool. But this was like late high school. It wasn't in high school, but it was late high school, maybe like 10th or 11th grade. And I got bullied, and it was like the first time where I was getting bullied where it was like I was like, I genuinely am having a bad time here. And I was so like, it felt like I was so grown at the moment. So it was weird to experience that so late in life for me. But yeah, and I remember that I feel like that's, even though that situation doesn't still haunt me or anything, it kind of does, because I feel like it has something to do with my lack of audacity today. Because when I had the audacity to try out for AAU and really try to assert myself on the team, like, again, it felt like my skills disappeared. Then I got bullied and I got benched. It was like I got bullied by the players and the coach. It was so crazy. And the coach never, like, I'm not going to say he never defended me, because I really can't remember the details that well. Maybe he did defend me, maybe he didn't. But I don't really feel like he did. I don't remember him defending me, especially because he benched me too. So I don't remember him trying to be helpful to me as a player, trying to develop me as a player. So, and I never quit the team. I still went to every game, and I went to every game and sat on the bench every game, got bullied in every practice. Like, I literally I still showed up. And so for that, I would say I'm proud of myself. But like, I feel like all these good traits that I've developed over the years and that I've had over the years, I'm just waiting for them to manifest into my big moment. Because I feel like I've done so much to cultivate myself as an artist and as a person. And like, I've worked on my discipline, on my craft, on my mentality, on my spirituality. Like, I've worked on all these things, and I've been so focused on these things that I've almost lived like a monk, low key. And it feels like my intense focus on improvement also made me move backwards in a way. And so it really does hurt when it feels like everything you try, nothing works. And so it's very hard to have audacity when that happens. But overall, I feel like that's the gist of what I've been feeling in week 2. I'm ready to jump into week 3. There's a whole lot more I can say, but I feel like that's the most important stuff. Peace.